Hello and welcome to this special. While most believe that innovation as a concept got popular in post-liberalization India when Indian companies became exposed to a new open economy and with it a new wave of competition, the fact is that innovation is far more integral. While liberalization was a trigger, innovation allowed companies to stay ahead even before that. In the finale of the Inside India's Most Innovative Companies series, we look at the idea of innovation through the eyes of some of India's finest business leaders. They look at how their own companies evolved, innovated and led, and what are the lessons learnt. It is one of India's oldest companies and groups, and yet 117 years after it was founded, Godrej continues to dominate the segments it operates in. To understand how innovation was at the heart of the company's origins and how it played an integral part in the company's growth, we caught up with the group chairman, Godrej.
I think innovation has been a very strong force in our group. In the early years, the innovation was to produce products in India that could compete with British imports. Because at that time almost all consumer products into India used to be imported. Very little was manufactured here. So we were the first, for example, to make locks in India. We were the first to make soap from vegetable oils, which was the main source of raw material in India. We were the first to make refrigerators in India. We were the first to make typewriters in India. We don't even make typewriters anymore, but that was an innovation at that time. So almost all the businesses we have gone into, consumer businesses, about 600 million Indians use one or the other of our products every day. So they have arisen out of innovation, out of new ideas. They may not be innovations in the global term that it was never done anywhere, but it was certainly very strong innovations from India.
If Godrej's success in early innovation stemmed out of a constraint, that is a closed economy, India's take on the patent laws forced innovation of a different kind in the pharmaceutical industry. Chmn, one of the pioneers of India's pharma revolution, talked to us of the journey and what made Indian companies like Cipla really stand out.
September 72, the patent laws of India changed. We Indians, we were very, very small at the time, started fighting the government that look, we are following today the British patent law of 1911. And this fight took 10 to 12 years of fighting. We were not fighting on patents. What we were fighting for, that a country like India, even at that time, could not afford a monopoly in healthcare. And that was a big fight. And it took 12 years. And ultimately in September 1972, Indira Gandhi passed the bill, the Patent Act, no product patents, only process patents for 7 years. And that gave us the legal freedom to manufacture any drug internationally known. We could manufacture in India and sell it in India and elsewhere, wherever the laws were similar to India, at affordable prices.
A lot of innovation spearheaded by Indian companies was also driven by external change. As the economy in India opened up, competition in a fast-changing marketplace forced companies to literally redefine themselves. One company that did that was specialist engineering and construction firm Larsen & Toubro. The late 90s saw the company reinvent itself in the face of a crisis. Executive Chairman A.M. Naik believes that was a game-changing innovation for L&T.
Let's say from 99-2000, my advocacy to the company has been that we have been very excellent in what we do, technically, in innovation of products, but we have to rediscover ourselves. Because the economy had opened up, license Raj had gone, multinational had started coming, we ourselves had to become multinational, which was incorporated in our vision statement. But more importantly, we have to become more entrepreneurial. Because while I think we were all the time doing well on the technological front, we were very poor in value creation. Our stock was not doing well. It was almost stagnant for years. And that is the reason we were always a cheap company and a takeover target. My message to all our employees, unless you create a very valuable company, you yourself one day won't remain. In any case, you are vulnerable for, by that time it was 12 years. And 2003, finally we came to a conclusion with Grasim, and we sold the cement to them, and we restructured the company in a sense that we now are the second largest shareholder, L&T Foundation, employee foundation. It's a case study by itself. It's a managerial and entrepreneurial innovation.
With competition driving in, quite literally, companies also had to go back to the drawing board and develop their own R&D. In the case of Mahindra & Mahindra, it gave rise to a whole new platform, the Scorpio, which helped transform the company into a SUV major. It also gave birth to a truly Indian kind of innovation, frugal innovation, which was coined by the Renault-Nissan chairman Carlos Ghosn when he visited a Mahindra factory.
Frugal innovation was driven by the need of the hour. Realizing that we have to develop new products at the same level as the global giants, but we do not have the financial resources to develop those kind of products at that investment, that cost. So the only way to survive was to be able to develop those products at a fraction of the cost. So Scorpio, which was talked about quite a bit at that time, which we developed for $150 million, and benchmark at that time probably was 4 times as much in terms of developing a new product, became a good example of frugal innovation, or frugal engineering, though at that time the word frugal was not used.
Okay, so explain to me, what made the development of Scorpio a frugal innovation?
So frugal, let me just say that frugal doesn't mean cheap. Frugal doesn't mean cutting corners, because if you start cutting corners, it's going to come back to hit you. If you don't do your development, if you don't in the right way, if you don't do your validation in the right way, the product is not going to succeed. It's going to fail. The frugality came from the way we used our resources in a way that you didn't do anything that didn't have to be done because somebody thought it was nice to do. In fact, this was the example that Carlos Ghosn, since you mentioned him, gave when he was working in our plant that we had set up for Logan. And as he was walking, he turned to us and said, "Look, there is nothing that you have done here that my engineers cannot do, but there is no way my engineers will ever do it because I cannot change their thinking."
While some of India's biggest companies have innovated through the years and used it in different ways to grow their companies, what are the big challenges they face ahead? And what are the opportunities they're working towards? We find out when we return. From the markets of Africa to those in Indonesia and across many parts of the world, the Best of India Inc. are fast making a mark. India is already the pill factory of the world, and companies like Godrej and Bajaj have made deep inroads into the Middle East and African markets. In fact, in many ways, it's innovation and the ability to rewrite the rules of the game that have given Indian companies the lead, as Dr. Hamid explained in the context of the pharma sector and Cipla in particular.
In 1960, when I came back, I felt that the foundation and the backbone of the pharma industry is not the tablets or the capsules or the injections. It is who manufactures the active ingredients that go into those products. So in our own small way, Cipla had started the manufacture of what is called now APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredients. And when this law changed in 72, we were already in that area of manufacture. So that is what gave a boost. And we did that. We reverse engineered many products. In our company alone, for the first time in India, we must have marketed at least 20 to 40 so-called new chemical entities for India. And by 1984, we were ready to license to get FDA, US FDA approval.
APIs, Indian companies moved to generics, but the turning point for Cipla and in fact the entire Indian pharma industry came later. Between 2001 and 2004, at the height of the AIDS epidemic, Cipla put out the lowest cost cocktail of anti-AIDS drugs that made this company a game changer in world healthcare. Hamid says his company stumbled upon this opportunity.
In 1991, a very close friend of mine from Hyderabad, government laboratory, comes to me, Dr. Ramarao, and says, look, I have developed a process to make a drug called AZT. I did not know what AZT was at the time. It was the first and only drug in 1991 to be used against HIV. We went to the government together, and Cipla took up the challenge to produce AZT. We did it in 93. Marketed the product, no sale. We sold it in India for $2 a day against the international price of $12 a day. There were no takers.
Why was that?
Too expensive. Even $2 a day in those days was expensive. So we shut down the whole project on HIV.
And you threw away 200,000 pills.
That's right.
And then?
That's right. Then in 1996, I read a paper which said that a combination of 3 drugs could help alleviate the suffering of HIV and AIDS. And I took up the challenge again. And by the year 2000, we were ready with our cocktail.
That's in 4 years. That's quite commendable.
Yeah, we made because we had the ability to produce the active substance.
If Cipla's innovation in the anti-AIDS segment created the cheapest life-saving drug, in Godrej's case, the discovery of the bottom of the pyramid and the opportunities it threw up added a new dimension.
So the kind of innovation, say, Procter & Gamble would concentrate on would be different from what we would concentrate on, because for something like somebody like P&G, the bigger market is the developed world, where incomes are strong, where price is not of great concern. If you have a great new product, people will use it. For us, we have to innovate a good product, I wouldn't say necessarily great product, but very, very affordable, so that the penetration can be improved. Today, a large part of the masses in the developing world do not consume all possible products because they can't afford them. But if they are all available very cheap and they could fit into the budgets, they would like to consume more of almost everything.
It's also the distribution, the reaching into the rural hamlets. You did a very interesting thing using post offices, for example, when you did Chotu Kula. What are the learnings and what are the novel ways? Because the biggest challenge for any Indian company, if you're looking at the bottom of the pyramid, is reach actually.
So distribution is extremely important in India. There are 8 million retail outlets in India. That's more than in any other country. The second highest would be China with about 4.5 million, and then the US and Indonesia each have a slightly less than 1 million retail outlets each. Now reaching this, now our products are found in over 4 million retail outlets in the country. Whether you go to Ladakh or you go to Arunachal Pradesh, you'll get our products. Now, but we need to further improve them. Not only improve the distribution of our product, but see that more of our products are available in each of these small rural outlets. So clearly distribution is very important. If you don't have a strong distribution system in India, it's very difficult to succeed. So that's also an entry barrier which helps us.